Kia ora koutou. We are here with my amazing guest, and within my wheelhouse, I've just started with the TAHI, but why not bring Waiheni combat sports to the table and introduce it to our TAHI podcast? Daniella Smith, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, kia ora.
Kia ora. It's so great to be speaking to a kaupapa that obviously I know, and I just feel like your story is so inspiring and it's done a lot for Aotearoa. As you can see now, we've got a lot more girls coming through the combat sports rank and just finding it a pathway that they're sort of gravitating towards. Do you find there's a big difference from when you were fighting to what it looks like now?
Look, I guess so, but when I was fighting, I was like, I don't care what any of you think. This, I don't want to take over your sport. I just want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
So I didn't really take much notice of the people that were anti-females boxing and stuff. I mean, I knew there was voices in the background, but I didn't take much notice of them.
Yeah.
I was always very outspoken. I remember being told that we had to wear, because our shoulders weren't allowed to be showing, and we had to wear like T-shirts underneath our tops.
Yeah.
But then we'd go away to international tournaments and you didn't have to. So I just started not wearing them and would get told off, and I was just like, and what?
What are you going to do about it?
Exactly. They couldn't do anything about it.
Get in trouble later. Love it.
I stood up for what I believed in, and they didn't. I just don't think they expected kickback from anyone. But, well, they hadn't met me before, had they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing. You started in combat sports. You're a professional boxer. You were Aotearoa's first ever Waiheni boxing world champion. I think that in itself is amazing and pivotal for the idea around combat sports at that time, especially. I do feel like there was way more pushback back then than there is now. People like you paved the way for people like me to gravitate towards a sport, to be able to do it in like an environment where the boys were like, okay, well, we've got another girl in the gym, like we're just going to have to deal with it. What sort of originally drew you to combat sports and boxing in general?
Look, I really had no clue. My friend said, I do boxing, and she's like the girliest of girl you've ever met. And I'm like,
people like you doing boxing.
You do boxing? And I'll be honest, I think I was curious. And she kept saying, you'll be good at it. And I was like, of course I will be. I'm good at everything. I like the cockiness that came with me. But yeah, I went down curiosity, really.
Love it.
And then I remember this guy come up and said, look, wrap your hands. And I was like, what? How? And so he did it for me. I got in the ring and started throwing some combos with him. And he was like, damn, you actually done this before. And he might have been lying. I don't know. But I honestly was like, he thinks I'm good. Yeah. So that's when he sowed the seed.
Yeah.
I really just believed him. And that's when I was just like, and I just really wanted to go on and become a champion. At that stage, it was a New Zealand champion. And the more I fought and the longer I boxed, it was, wanted to be an Oceania champion. And then I remember going, I want to be a world champion.
And it's realistic, that
goal.
Well,
for me it was.
Yeah.
People laughed. I didn't care. That just motivated me more.
Absolutely.
I love proving people wrong.
Honestly, I think a lot of girls that are in combat sports are in the exact same boat.
Yeah.
Gravitated towards it because we were told, you're never going to be able to do this, or it's not for you, hun. Like, don't patronize me, brother, because I will come out here with a bang and I'll beat up half your boys. Like, you know what I mean?
And don't call me hun.
Yeah. And also, who do you think you're talking to?
Yeah. I'm not your hun.
Exactly. Straight up. And at the time, you were a solo mum too. So, like, the responsibility of moving into a sport that maybe wasn't, guaranteed to give you revenue at the time, was that like a bit of a feat, or was it just because you loved it?
Look, when I first started boxing, getting paid was the furthest thing from my mind. It was more just about being in a sport that was challenging.
Yeah.
I'd come from a basketball background, and I could see that the skills were quite similar. The footwork was quite similar. It was more about just challenging myself in this new arena.
Yeah.
I didn't even know women didn't really do it. You got to remember, I didn't know anything.
Sure. Yeah.
The only thing I knew about boxing when I first walked into the gym for the first time was I knew of David Tua, Muhammad Ali, and the coal miner's daughter. That's all I know. Nothing else. Yeah.
and that you like to scrap. So
Oh, yeah, I wasn't shy of rolling around on the grass and throwing a few punches, you know?
exactly, not afraid to get your hands dirty, and obviously that made it a little bit less intimidating. At the beginning, walking into a gym, I'm assuming at that time there wasn't a lot of female training partners and other people in your gym, or did you have a few?
It's funny because most gyms you would think that was, you know, the norm.
Yeah.
But coming into the gym that I was first started off in Maritime down in on Anzac Ave there in Auckland, they were very welcoming of females. And they were actually, there was a handful of females training in the gym.
Stunning.
Yeah, and us girls all of a sudden there was like girls sparring.
You started that though. I can honestly say, like, when I started, I was like one of the first people in my gym. I was in the Gold Coast, a completely different environment. And moving back to New Zealand, I moved back for CKB. CKB was the best place for me to go. But not only that, I got here and there's like, our women's team is like 10 to 15 of all different like sizes and experiences. We've got some amateurs, we've got some pros.
Oh, so you were Gina.
Yeah.
And Baby.
Yep, Gina, Baby, Jenna. We've got Mia, we've got Brooke, we've got some girls coming through. We're like Virtue. We're very, very, very blessed. I think maybe it was like a testament to Aotearoa. Do you think like our culture sort of gravitates towards to be a little bit more accepting of women doing stuff like this because of maybe footy or some other cultural reasons?
I think in recent years, women's boxing has revolutionised.
Yes.
So, people are taking notice of our women. Our wahine are standing up. It's quite exciting to watch in our rugby. I don't watch men's rugby anymore. I prefer watching our women.
Yes.
You know, our women athletes, they're strong, they're beautiful, they're articulate, and they can go.
Yes.
You know? And for so long, I mean, this is no disrespect to men's sport, by the way.
Absolutely.
But for so long, we've watched men. And I think that got boring.
Yeah.
You know? Women bring a difference.
Absolutely.
And that's exciting.
I love that. Exactly what you're saying. We brand different. We bring a different energy. It's feminine energy at the end of the day, but it's bringing to the party of the same sport that we've watched men do for so many years.
Absolutely.
And so it's like being able to get that televised ability and all these just exposures that we never used to get. You see a lot of like the footy girls and people like Miyamoto and stuff being recognised as a reality TV show star, being recognised as TikTok and social media content and stuff. Do you think that like that's crazy? Like as that shifted?
Oh, you know what? I said to me when she told me she was going on the show, I was just like, oh, I'm so jealous.
Straight up.
Because I got phoned up to be on it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, I'll talk to my boss, I'll get it sorted. And like the woman who was acting as my agent, she was when I was current or relevant. And then I said to her, yep, I'll get it sorted. Yeah, I want to be on it because it was worth it.
Yeah.
You know, from a financial
absolutely.
perspective. So, and then a couple of days later, they're like, oh, sorry, we've got someone else. And I was just like, man.
Fun. Like.
It would have been. And so when Mia told me, I was like, oh my gosh, Mia, so jealous. But in the same breath, so proud of you, eh? Like, that's so cool.
It's a massive thing for combat sports to get recognised as, like, the footy players, as public figures and as athletes that are nationally recognised for a sport that's not, you know, it's big. Boxing especially is big here in New Zealand, but something like MMA or jiu-jitsu, you know, that's the international crowd that we're sort of gravitating towards. So it's harder for us to get that backing in our own country and where we're from. You hail from Te Tai Tokerau, from Kaikohe.
Kaikohe,
yeah. Do you think that's another reason sort of why you gravitate towards combat sports, or what in that do you draw from when you're fighting?
I guess it's not fighting and living in Kaikohe wasn't foreign. They kind of went together.
Love you, Northland kids.
You know, so as a young teenager, we would meet in the paddock because we lived on the farm, right?
Yeah.
Just out of Kaikohe on Taiki Road. And we would meet in the paddock, and the neighbours would come over and meet in the paddock, and another family would come over and meet in the paddock. And we'd get partnered up for fights. You're fighting him, you're fighting him, you're fighting her, or whatever. I used to always get with like a guy that was around about my age, and we would just rumble. We would rumble hard, and so it wasn't frowned upon, and it wasn't a scary idea. Like being hit in a boxing ring the first time, I was like, oh, okay. It wasn't a big deal.
Yeah, you're already being like desensitized to violence in a way where it was sort of controlled. Even if it was a paddock, as per se, at least you kind of knew 1v1. It's not like, you know, you're getting jumped on the streets of like K Road or something, but it's just sort of like, I feel like combat sports is really hard to explain because it's feeling the pressure but doing it anyway.
Yeah.
It's feeling the fact that, you know, I'm probably going to get a little bit busted, but at the same time, I want to do better than the person in front of me, so I need to, you know, calm my nerves, calm myself, and focus on the task at hand. I feel like like you said, that kind of experience would have set you up perfectly for a combat sports career. Did that mean that you sort of went through the ranks a little bit quicker, or you felt like you said, you started with the national goal, then went the Oceania, then went the world? Do you think that happened quite quickly just because you were already sort of ready for the competitions?
I'm not sure if it happened quickly. I have nothing to compare it with.
True, yeah.
You know, I think it was perfect timing for me. I would progress when I was ready, or when I had, I'd won quite a few New Zealand titles. It's time to look at those, and then the international opportunities started. Because remember, we had to wait for the world to catch up to us.
Yeah. And see us.
Yeah. Yes. Hello, we're here.
We're down here.
Yeah. So, you know, so that's kind of like, I mean, I won my first Oceania gold with Dougie. He's your coach there.
Yep, absolutely.
He won his as well and went on to the Olympics that year. So, you know, we've kind of all, we're from that generation. We're old.
Hardly. We're still, as I say that, you and I have both shared an opponent, which is sort of crazy in itself.
Because how old are you?
I'm just about to turn 30.
I'm just a little older than 30.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. We'll put that in. But we've both shared an opponent, Arlene Blanco. Shout out to Arlene. She's an incredible Wahine athlete that moved from boxing over to MMA. But yeah, at that time, you were both in the same ranks. And to be honest, like, I know a lot about her story. And she had a similar thing. She had 2 kids at the time, and she gravitated towards a gym, found it, loved it, and then obviously has done all the amazing things that she's done now.
Hasn't she? Oh my God.
And keeps killing it. She hasn't retired yet.
Smashing it on Bellator. Oh,
so cool. So it's like, as much as we may have been a little bit in different times, I do feel like the community of Australasia in general, Australia and New Zealand, that community, like Doug's now my coach and he coached you, and Miyamoto is sort of probably around now my time and you're coaching her. Like, it's all mixed in. It's all a community. I feel like I kind of missed out on that being over in Aussie, but is that something else that is incredible to you? Just a small country, of course, but a small community of combat sports?
It's yeah. And it's really funny because people go, oh, do you know such and such, or within the boxing or even the martial arts community?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep. And they're like, really? And they'll be like, do you know such and such? And I'm like, yep. And they're like, wow. And I went, you have to remember, the boxing community in New Zealand is really small. We all know one another. I said, I haven't been very present in it of late, but I still pretty much know most people. And yeah, and I guess, like, I guess, like, as I say, like, I've been living up north, working up there, so I haven't really been present. So I've kind of missed out on, I guess, like, the MMA stuff, how that's become quite the new thing on the scene, you know?
Yeah.
Exciting too, eh? Like, really cool.
But I do feel like they cross over a lot. Like, all the, like, what you did has still impacted me directly 100%, because what you did gave opportunities, put eyes on the sport, put eyes on Wahine in the sport, and then that gave me the opportunity to come through, and then vice versa, I gave the opportunity for those girls coming through now. So it's just a trickle effect of seeing generations work together to make sure that, you know, we see that there is a pathway here in combat sports, whether you're a girl, whether you're a boy, doesn't really matter, whether you're in New Zealand, whether you want to go international, be a world champion, there is no, like, goal too small anymore. And it's just sort of, it's really cool. It's really cool to see, and I'm just in awe of all the stuff that you've done. If you want to keep up to date with Daniella, Daniella. She has an amazing 5-part podcast coming up on RNZ. So catch that and make sure that you listen to her story a little bit more in depth. And hopefully we see some more from you. Are you ever going to do more stuff in combat sports?
I'm not sure. I mean, every now and again I'll have a training session with my daughter and I start punching good and I think, I smell a comeback. But she's just like, oh, Mum. But from a coaching perspective, willing to look at that space if someone is willing to put the time in. But it's really hard up north. We've got Trisha Vaka, a professional fighter, who's actually fighting Gina Fabian.
Yes, on the DAZN card. That's amazing.
But she is just, super committed to her rugby career. So
multi-athlete, multifaceted
but
athlete.
she's really keen to get in the ring and give it a go. And so, I mean, she's an experienced professional fighter,
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, so
a lot of great stuff to look forward to. And
most definitely.
You started and we're just going to keep it going. We got girls fighting on headlining cards. That in itself, amazing. And we just want more of that. Lani Jackson, Mia Motu, Jenna Fabian. You're the freaking girls. Let's go. Awesome.
Yeah, well, Lani Daniels is fighting tonight.